if you're really dreaming something big, it really starts from something small or something that you didn't realize that that's what you are aiming to, or it's not the direction that you're initially. It's not the direction. So I think more networking events, more opportunities for them to pitch their ideas and meet angel investors or VCs or anyone who can help them, like say for example, market their product or partner with other organizations can be very valuable to them as like initially validate their ideas and meet investors.
Hey, I'm Al, and this is the Paglalayag podcast. I'm using this podcast to showcase what's going on around me in the hardware and clean tech sectors dito sa Philippines. With guests from across the startup, research, investment, and enabler ecosystems, Paglalayag focuses on the stories and inspirations that motivate us to start up in hardware and press on down this arduous path of steering our economy away from the looming climate catastrophe that makes itself increasingly felt in our lives each passing year. I hope you'll find this cast of characters as impressive and inspiring as I do. Also, if you've been listening to these podcasts and want to let me know what you think, there's a survey form available at paglalayag.net-podcast. You can also reach out by email at al@paglalayag.net. I'd love to hear from you. Sige, tuloy-tuloy lang. Let's jump in. Okay, so welcome everybody to Paglalayag. I'm Al. And today I'm joined by Jigs Esguerra, who's the department head of the Center for Technopreneurship and Innovation at Batangas State University. And I've known Jigs for a number of years now, and we'll get into the history of that in a little bit. But first, thanks for joining me, Jigs.
Hello. Hi, also. Good morning. Thank you for having me in Paglalayag podcast. So hello to all of the listeners of this podcast. Thank you again for having me. I'm Jigs from Batangas State University. So I'm currently the head of the Center for Technopreneurship and Innovation. I've been with the center for since 2014, but I've been with the university 2010 as a professor. I was assigned at the center to implement programs for our students and faculty who would like to establish their own startups. So we started the center in 2014. Our first funding came from the Department of Science and Technology, Fishered, and Commission on Higher Education, and some other non-government organizations to continue with our programs on entrepreneurship and innovation.
Yeah, and 2014, so that's quite a bit before I got acquainted with and introduced to BSU. I first participated in being a judge of a science fair, I guess, in 2018, and then the Technopreneurship Summit was in 2019. Maybe I got the years wrong, but yeah. So I mean, maybe we could talk a little bit about how the center has evolved over those years.
Good question. Actually, when we started, we were mostly personnel from the engineering or computer science programs,
including yourself,
including myself. Yeah. No one has a background in business or in social science, so we kind of really pushed the admin to onboard their mentors or other personnel at TBI that understands how to build businesses, how to raise funds for our startups, and how to create networking events or run networking events and look for more funding opportunities for the TBI to create more programs for the startups. So from 100% engineering or technology heavy personnel to now it's 60% engineering or computer science, and then others now are in the kind of business and social science. We have raised also a lot of funding for our startups or grants for our startups. We are now running 2 cohorts of incubation programs. Per cohort, now we onboard 10 startups. But when we started the TBI, we only have a few, 2 or 3 startups. So it's a very big jump probably because of the funding that we got from the USD, from our funding agencies as well. We got a lot of partners now. As I have shared during our 10th year anniversary last week, we have like more than 50 partners, more than 40 mentors. So I think that's a very big achievement for the TBI when we started.
Yeah, definitely. And you alluded to Icons, which we were a participating startup for earlier this year, which is the first batch. And I guess you've done another one since then, or you're starting your second one up?
Okay, so this is actually the second, probably the third year of Icons.
Okay.
So, as a background, we've run a couple of regional programs on entrepreneurship and innovation. So we first started with the establishment of the Technology and Innovation Hub for South Luzon. We call it as South Luzon Tech Hub. That was founded by the Commission on Higher Education on how to encourage or mentor other faculty members who would want to facilitate entrepreneurship in their respective universities. So we went to like universities in Bicol, like Bicol University, where they invited other universities in the Bicol region. We also went to Palawan with Palawan State University to also mentor faculty members or educators in the Palawan province. And then also, of course, in Calabarzon in the Maropa region. We also run the Regional Inclusive Innovation Center, which is also a program to encourage micro, small, medium enterprises to integrate innovation in their products and services. And then now we have the Icons South Luzon, which is another regional program for promoting entrepreneurship and innovation also.
Across a number of universities.
Across a number of universities. More particularly with universities who would like to establish their own TBIs and those who already have TBIs and create more networking or funding opportunities for our startups here in Calabarzon.
Yeah, awesome. So what would you say have been some of your biggest takeaways? Like, I mean, ours is maybe the most recent, but even with some of these other ones that you've done in the past, like what, just in terms of like where the program participants who are starting to get into technopreneurship, where they're coming in at when they get through the program, where they're at. Like, what would you say is your biggest takeaway in terms of trying to get an ecosystem happening where some of these companies do go on to be players and somehow starting to change the landscape towards a more innovative tech sector and economy?
Okay, so for most of the startups that we've met, and those that we have onboarded, I think one of the things that we've noticed from them is they don't know who to approach to if they're raising funds. So we've realized that we probably should be have more networking events. They know people who to approach to. I think more networking events, more opportunities for them to pitch their ideas and meet angel investors or VCs or anyone who can help them, like say for example, market their product or partner with other organizations can be very valuable to them, as business matching events can be really, really helpful for them to initially validate their ideas and meet investors.
And you've been to similar ecosystems in other countries. I know you kind of traveling around a fair bit in the last couple of years. Do you have any like favorites of projects or companies that have come forward through any of your programs that you think is like maybe very interesting spin, like, or a Filipino spin or a Calabarzon spin? What are some of your favorites?
Of course, I would say that I would really like your idea on the battery swapping, because I think that can really save a lot of battery waste. If we can really like make our batteries, work more efficiently, perform well, we can lessen the battery waste. Who else? There's another one that I've seen like has a potential really also in the circular economy. They're called Junk Point. They've recently joined a competition. They're really young. The founders are really young. They are just senior high school students. And what's really interesting is that they are not only rewarding individuals who are recycling, but they also have incentive program for the junk shops, for the small companies that are recycling, waste products. So that's a very good idea. Knowing Philippines is one of the pollutants.
Yeah,
in
a big
the
source
ocean.
of plastic waste.
Yes, I agree. I guess I'm really a big fan of innovation in the circular economy. Because there's Robin, they're one of the first incubatees of Bad State U who had the opportunity to get funding from the EOST Startup Preference Program.
Robin is reverse vending
Reverse
machine,
vending
so
machine.
so people can take their plastics in and get
rewards.
credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a reward system wherein you can use the rewards to convert it into something like, for example, food in a fast food chain or miles in an airline, something like that.
Cool. And I mean, being outside of Metro Manila comes with some challenges when it comes to the whole plugged into the VCs and stuff. But I think there's a lot of trends towards having like regional hubs or consortiums like this, because from the VC's perspective, also being able to invest in companies that have the reach in these other more far-flung places is attractive, and at the very least, having a pathway for the talent to get into the industry is also an important thing to just make the whole sector work better, be more internationally competitive. Have you seen, like, in terms of BSU or any of the other ICONS consortium members, places where BSU could be maybe a very competitive, like, from a technical specialization?
Okay, so Bad State U, we are technology agnostic. So it can be any kind of technology, but we're really strong in ICT, for example, AI, data science, and in electronics and semiconductors. So we're building a lot of projects that are related to those industries. So I think that's where we really want to
Might be a nice
known.
niche.
Yes, like a niche. Okay. But we're not closing opportunities for other technologies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough. Cool. And if there were any listeners who are like aspiring technopreneurs out there that were maybe interested in trying to apply, do you have any programs coming up that they might be good for them to know about?
Okay. So our incubation program always runs, twice a year. So they can just message us on our Facebook page. It's Center for Technopreneurship and Innovation. Simply message us and we'll try to, schedule an exploratory meeting on how we can onboard them on the incubation program. So it's open to everyone, like students, faculty, or even private individuals who has ideas. More preferably if you already have a prototype. ICONS is also going to run its second cohort for its acceleration program. So if your startup is already a registered business and you already have like traction, that you have paying customers, or if not, you have commitments, from your target customers, you can join the ICONS acceleration program. Sometime next year, maybe the second quarter, we'll open up that program. So those are, and then we also have another one who's going to open it maybe before the end of the year. If your research or if you're a startup related to agriculture, so we're also going to open another acceleration program in
Specifically
partnership,
for agriculture?
specifically for agriculture. This is in partnership with CIARTA.
Okay.
They are a non-government organization funding enterprises in the agri-tech or social enterprises or any startup that is in the agri-tech sector.
Great. Okay. So why don't we get into the quotes and we'll wrap her up with that. I went for sort of the agriculture incubation theme for these quotes. So I'm going to go with one from Larry Page and one from Epictetus. Okay. So Larry Page says, "You never lose a dream, it just incubates as a hobby." Mm-hmm. And then Epictetus, his one was, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you there must be time, let it first blossom and then bear fruit and ripen." So just whatever thoughts you have about those two quotes and how that speaks to what you're doing at CTIA.
Okay, so one quote that really resonates with me is "Never lose a dream, it just incubates as a hobby." It tells you like that sometimes, small things, if you're really dreaming something big, it really starts from something small or something that you didn't realize that you're that's what you are aiming to, or it's not the direction that you're initially. It's not the direction. So I think that if you're just going to like work on it, day by day, I think you can succeed in attaining that kind of dream. It just needs more time. For me, that resonates a lot. Like, or sometimes if it's not exactly what you're dreaming of, then maybe the divine maybe is telling you that maybe you need to pivot a little bit so that you can succeed. Yes. Yeah.
I think it's an interesting quote to come from a guy like Larry Page, like one of the creators of Google, right? So, like, as somebody to create something that huge and then to make a comment like that, like, I mean, he would have been very, very in that very fast growth startup scene with, like, the patent. Like, I have no idea what his hobby would have been if that was his dream at the time, like when he was going through. I mean, just thinking back to the story of how it went up through all of those stages. For me, it's an interesting one. Especially, I know that a lot of Filipinos don't feel like they have a lot of agency in terms of trying to go. Like, one, there's a big challenge in getting the skills that are required to be competitive in tech, but then also the challenges of where the resources going to come from to take it through these steps. And it's definitely something that we've had a lot of battles with over the years. But I think that as a whole sector, technology is taking steps forward to make the pathways a little bit easier to see for the people that are really going to try and go for that dream that they want to do. You got anything to add there?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having me here. And it's really nice to share some of our programs, and hopefully we can motivate more universities, more students, and more entrepreneurs to pursue their dreams.
Cool. Well, that's a great note to leave it on. So we'll sign out from here. Thanks everybody for listening. Tulay lang.